It is that time of year where things are really picking up in real estate. It's starting to warm up a little bit. Well, maybe not today, but this weekend is supposed to be like 50 degrees. So I wanted to talk about moving to the country. A lot of people approach me about that, so I wanted to just do a brief video on things you should consider. I'm Jami Gordon. I help people realize their dream in home ownership through helping them in the buying and the selling process. So let's start with the roads. Gravel roads get really slick in the winter and they get really muddy in the springtime and sometimes even in the winter time as well. So having a four-wheel drive sometimes helps. However, like school buses sometimes will not travel on those roads. So if your kids ride the bus, it just adds a little more complexity to your mornings and evenings. And it's a little bit, you have to take care of your car a little bit differently as well. Next, I would say is not being on a public water and sewage. So you have a well and you have a septic tank. And although, you could say, hey, I don't have to pay a monthly bill, you should actually be setting aside that same amount of money every single month to plan for that big expense to come. For example, your well, you do have a pressure tank that you do have to maintain, but you might have to have some type of treatment to your water as well. We do have a water filtration system. We got a water softener installed. So you have to do a few more things to your water out here. It's not treated like the public water. And then for your septic system, you just have to be aware of what's going on out there. And if you ever had to replace that, it's like $7,000 to $10,000. So it's something that you should definitely have an emergency savings for. Next, I'm going to talk about pests. So when I say pests, I mean insects and rodents and different things like that. There's a lot of them out here. And we got farm cats specifically for that reason. We do have a dog. So I feel like that keeps some of them away, but not all of them. As for insects, I try to do like natural remedies. Hi, buddy. And that's kind of helps. But I'm still learning what I should and shouldn't be doing because we have animals and I don't want to damage anything outside either. I don't want to kill my plants. As for plants, that's my third thing. Sometimes it's really, really hard to get rid of things that are going to cause you to break out. Like I didn't realize that I had such an allergy to poison ivy and poison oak and poison sumac, and we have all three of them around here, and we're having a heck of a time getting rid of them. In fact, I got a flare up just this last month because it got warm for a week or so, and then things were growing again, and I reached down to grab something and didn't realize that it was in a patch of poison ivy, because you don't always like see it coming, but I definitely broke out from it, and yeah, you just can't plan for those things. As for expense on the cost of the house, so I have a considerable amount of phone calls that come in that people are looking for something within 30 miles away from Cedar Rapids or Iowa City that is $200,000 or less, 1 to 5 acres. That is really, really hard to find. In fact, that was our criteria for years. And guess what? 10 years later, we finally got our home, but we did pay more for it. But we also had to realize what that's going to get you. A $200,000 house with some land is going to get you a fixer-upper. And some people are not ready to take that on. So having the budget and having that emergency fund when you're moving out somewhere in the country is an absolute must. Oh, lastly, my kids will appreciate this one. Internet. You don't get unlimited internet in the country. And if you are watching this and you have unlimited internet or really good internet, please PM me because we don't. And it has been quite the adjustment for my children. Not that they're deeply into games, but we've had to limit them even more because they're using up what we have, and it's not unlimited. It's satellite, and it's not great. So be ready for that. If you work at home and need internet, you could be very, very challenged. You have to do your research ahead of time. I hope you learned a thing or two about living in the country. I hope you have a blessed day.